So PlayStation announced they have a state of play. This was, I think, right after we recorded, they announced a state of play. So this is for tomorrow. So this is their, they kind of randomly announce these things. They're going to show off some gameplay, some games rather. But what's going to be the main kind of focus of the state of play is The Last of Us. They're going to be their Last of Us Part 2. And the Last of Us account, or Naughty Dog rather, has been putting on a bunch of teasers on Twitter, like a bunch of images and stuff. And they're fully saying like, hey, we're going to show you The Last of Us 2 at this presser event. It's pretty dope. I'm very excited. I imagine there'll be other stuff too, but so I pulled up. Yeah.
Do you care?
No. Well, I mean, they tend to show off a bunch of cool like indie games and stuff, so I don't mind that at all.
Are they gonna do what Nintendo does and lead with their big gun right out the gate?
I don't know. It's a good question. I feel like it's fine to just leave that at the end because I guess you don't want to turn off since you have that as your as your big performer for that event. Throw in those indies so that people are tuning onto the stream. They get to see that stuff. Otherwise, I don't know who's doing that, but if once you see The Last of Us, you go, okay, I'm good, and you don't see those cool games that they show off. But I did pull up the article from GameSpot. Steve Watts writes, PlayStation State of Play, start time, what to expect, and more. Sony is preparing another of its State of Play presentations, promising big PS4 news on the horizon. I feel like there was like 10 P's in that last sentence there. But whereas Microsoft's Inside Xbox streams come semi-regularly and Nintendo Directs are often themed around big games, Sony's State of Play is more sporadic and often more mysterious. We haven't had a State of Play since May, and it was a big one. We know some, but certainly not all of what to expect when this new stream debuts on September 24th, which is tomorrow. What we know will be there. So far, only one game has been confirmed for the State of Play, Last of Us 2. Naughty Dog issued a teaser that directly stated it would be part of the presentation. That can mean anything from seeing the footage, recently shown to retailers. So jump out of that. So there was a GameStop managers conference where they showed off footage of The Last of Us Part 2. I guess they do that. Various like developers will show off their game to these big retailers like GameStop.
Because otherwise GameStop may not put that game on their shelves.
Yeah.
No.
Whatever. They're going to play that. They're going to sell that game regardless. But yeah, so what can you imagine? I feel like I'm sure we're going to see an actual release date, because this reminds me of the last State of Play they did was the Death Stranding State of Play, where they gave off the release date and showed some footage. So I imagine same thing, right?
Yeah.
Footage and then a release date.
We're getting a good chunk. We're getting a release date. I really want to see this animation. I want to see them put
you were kind of maybe a bit pessimistic where the last trailer or the last footage they did, you didn't think that was maybe in-game, or was it somewhat helped, or not reflective of what you play in the game?
Yeah, like normally when you see animations that look that like much like a movie, like, and we see this all the time in trailers where it's like that,
sure,
and then it turns out nothing like that. But when they showed off that footage, they're like, no, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. It's like, don't.
Well, do you think
We've seen this too many times.
I don't think it's that insane. I mean, I do see where you're coming from, because some of the animations with Ellie in that initial gameplay footage, you're going through this. It's almost like an empty supermarket, or just a store where there's like these different like shelves showing off items and stuff, and she's slipping in between them, just kind of willy-nilly, very easily. So, and they're also not showing us the prompt that pops up, when you do such a thing. Right. So maybe it's a prompt ahead of time enough where the game can coerce you into that animation. I don't know. It did look super beautiful, but it didn't look too beautiful where it's like, okay, the PS4 Pro can't run this.
No, I think graphics-wise, and plus,
but just animation is what you're talking about.
It's Naughty Dog.
Right. Yeah, like, they always push the limit. They always do a good job.
It could be a toaster, and it's still going to look stupid pretty.
Exactly. Yeah. But I would say that they were going to implement that, but you're right. Let's see how they actually do the animations in this. I'm sure they're going to show off gameplay footage. Now, the next issue is what's their target release date? So Jason Schreier of Kotaku tweeted, this is around the Death Stranding State of Play, where he tweeted that he heard that they were shooting for November for Last of Us 2, but they had to push it to February. So if that's true, and he's pretty, inside scoop of that kind of stuff, do we see them announce it in February? I feel like that's, possible, right?
Sure. I mean, literally anything's possible with these guys.
Gotcha.
Do you know how long it's been since they put out a game? Because I don't.
Well, the team split to do the last Uncharted DLC that came out. That was maybe 2 summers ago. That was with, it wasn't with Nathan Drake. It was those two other side characters. But the team split to do that, as they do, like the kind of like trade off development. But otherwise, it was the full team on the last Uncharted. And so, I mean, 2 years from that one, and then maybe another 2 years before that, before they splintered again. So I feel like I could see the early 2020. I feel like that's totally fine. And they've been teasing The Last of Us for a while now. So after 2 years ago, that Uncharted DLC launches, and they get the whole team back together, and they just go full force for another 2 years, I feel like we could see in early 2020. But I'm only going off those initial tweets by Jason Schreier as like a guideline. But this is probably just for the fact that we've seen Death Stranding already say like, hey, we're shooting for this year. That gives me hope that this is early next year, and this is the last hurrah of the PS4 before they really switch gears to promoting PS5. Yeah. That's a bummer, because are we going to see a PS5 version of The Last of Us 2? For sure. But, that's how it goes. That's how Last of Us, the original was. It was right on the end of the PS3 life cycle, and they did a PS4 revamp. But pretty stoked. I'm very excited. I don't know what time this thing is streaming, but it will stream tomorrow. And so I did also pull up.
Go at 3:00. That is a watch.
Yeah. So the actual Naughty Dog Twitter page has been posting these just like high res, almost like gameplay models of various stuff that's of significance in the Last of Us lore. So they have this. You have Joel's watch that's broken. It breaks from the initial that initial attack in the first game, and it has significance to him. He always looks at it when he has like a pressing decision he has to make. And it's that outbreak day
kind
of thing.
Trying to figure out if it's beer o'clock yet.
Yeah. Just always adjust it back to beer o'clock.
Miller time?
Yeah. And then they've tweeted stuff, high-res photos of like Ellie's knife from the first one, and just like these iconic, quotes and stuff. You still have yet to play The Last of Us, Gavin.
Yet to finish.
Yet to finish.
Yeah, I'm probably halfway.
Really? Okay.
Well, but my PS3 was just shitting out on
Is that the only thing that stopped you from it, or did it not latch it?
Those 10+ minute load times.
Yeah.
It was probably only 5 minutes, but still 5-minute load times feels like an eternity.
Gotcha.
Like, especially when I'm in a part where I'm not living a whole lot. Like, there's this one scene where you're like sprinting through a garden of the clickers.
Oh, okay.
And you got to be stealthy, but you can't. I mean, I couldn't figure out a way to be fully stealthy.
Right.
Yeah,
we're going to get you finishing The Last of Us before the part 2 comes out. I will guarantee you that. Okay. So I have to take it to your house and
duct tape it in my hands.
Yeah, and feed you while you just keep playing this game. I want you to finish it so you have some thoughts on it. I want to just fully see how you feel about this game before the second part.
That's a hot take. 6 years later.
Yeah.
Gavin
Stop the presses. Gavin Jones has a thought on The Last of Us. I loved it.
It's good. I liked it. Well, that was a long
okay,
time
that's
coming.
a big surprise. But so we'll see that with the state of play that's coming up tomorrow.